watching the world today on Channels Television. Now remember the two teenage Indian girls found hanging from a tree back in May this year? Well, federal investigators say the girls took their own lives and were probably not gang raped or murdered. The announcement came after months of inquiry by the Central Bureau of Investigation following global outrage. 3 men arrested in connection with the case in northern Uttar Pradesh state were freed on bail in September. Now it's unclear whether or why those girls might have taken their own lives, and analysts say there are many unanswered questions. Women's rights activists say they are not happy with the latest findings and are urging the CBI to continue investigating. The lower caste cousins, thought to have been 14 and 15, were found hanged from a mango tree in Badwan district on May the 28th. Now, a suicide bomber has blown up a UK embassy vehicle in the Afghan capital Kabul, killing at least 5 people in the process. It's believed that a British staff was among those killed and the other 4, and those wounded were Afghans, and most of the victims are reported to have been bystanders. The UK Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond described the attack as an appalling one. The attack, carried out by a motorcycle bomber, was claimed by the Taliban.
A suicide bomber riding a motorcycle struck a British embassy vehicle in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, killing at least 5 people and wounding many bystanders. The Afghan Taliban, ousted from power by a US-led coalition in 2001, claimed responsibility for the attack, the latest in a wave of bombings to hit Kabul, as the majority of foreign combat troops prepare to withdraw from the country by the end of the year. The British Embassy confirmed there were injuries among those in the vehicle, but could not give any other information. The blast shred of the 4-wheel drive embassy vehicle, leaving a charred shell lying on its side. Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid said in a text message that a suicide bomber targeted foreign invading forces and many were killed and wounded.
Now to the Middle East. Israel says its internal security service has uncovered a Hamas cell in the West Bank that was planning to carry out a series of attacks in Jerusalem. Security agency Shin Bet said it had arrested more than 30 militants who were trained abroad and recovered weapons as well as explosives. It alleged that they planned to kidnap Israelis and their targets for attacks, including a football stadium in Jerusalem and the city's light rail system. The arrests come at a time of rising Israeli-Palestinian tension.
Israelis woke up this morning with the very good news that our security services had managed to catch a group of terrorists, of Hamas terrorists, who were planning to attack targets within the state of Israel. It is most unfortunate and most regrettable that those terrorists were based and planned their operations in a NATO member state in which such activity should never take place.
We go from the Middle East now to Asia. It seems the younger sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has been elevated as the state media for the first time referred to her as a senior party official. Kim Yo-jong, who is in her mid to late 20s, was identified as a vice director of a department within the powerful Central Committee. Kim Jong-un is the 3rd generation of the Kim family to rule North Korea. His aunt also had a prominent role in the party, but disappeared after her husband was executed for treason. Analysts say Kim Yo-jong could end up also playing a significant supportive leadership role, as she was first seen publicly at the funeral of her father, Kim Jong-il, back in 2011. Now, Malaysia's Prime Minister Najib Razak has gone back on a pledge to repeal a controversial sedition law, saying it will instead be strengthened. Under the law, speech deemed to incite unrest or religious or social tensions, or which criticizes traditional rulers, can carry a 3-year jail term. Critics say the colonial-era law is used to silence political opponents. Mr. Najib had said in 2012 that he would abolish the act amid raft of political reforms, but at his party's annual Congress today, the Prime Minister said the law would be retained. To the United States now, the governor of Missouri, Jay Nixon, has rejected calls for a new grand jury to decide whether to charge a white police officer for killing Michael Brown, who was an African-American teenager. This follows 2 days of unrest in St. Louis and 12 other cities over a ruling not to charge Darren Wilson for the killing of 18-year-old Michael Brown. But demonstrations appeared to dwindle on Wednesday amid heavy snowfall on the eve of the Thanksgiving holiday. A handful of protesters remain in Ferguson, where Mr. Brown was killed. The family of Michael Brown said they were left crushed by the ruling, which has triggered nationwide debates over relations between black communities and law enforcement. Well, after the break, we have some more light stories for you. And an auction in the United Kingdom goes extraordinarily well, fetching well over £189,000. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching The World Today. Now to the lighter side of life. A virtually complete woolly mammoth skeleton has been sold for £189,000 at an auction in Great Britain. Mammoths, similar to a modern elephant, but with a long furred top coat, walked the earth during the Ice Age, but died out about 10,000 years ago.
The skeleton, which is 30 to 50,000 years old, was sold to a UK-based private buyer on Wednesday. The fee includes the buyer's premium. The impressive specimen stands 3.5 meters tall and 5.5 meters long and may have weighed up to 6 tons in its lifetime.
Well, it's a special object because although mammoth bones, the odd mammoth bone, the odd tooth and the odd tusk are found quite commonly, an entire specimen like this that's been fully mounted is really a very rare thing. Not just because it's rare, but also because there's an awful lot of work that goes into preparing it.
The skeleton was part of an old Eastern European collection, and due to its size, had not been mounted until now.
Well, it is, and it was quite exciting to put it together because, as I say, it came in parts, and the hardest thing to do was to put the skull on, because that skull, even without the tusks, is enormously heavy. It took more or less 4 of us to lift it, and you know, we were swinging about, what, I don't know, 10 feet in the air, trying to get it to fit on. It was quite an undertaking, but very interesting one.
The sale also included a 30-centimeter elephant bird egg, which was sold for £69,960 sterling to a Chinese museum.
Many thanks for watching. I'm Cynthia Ara.